People are saying that Jimin and JK are going to move in together after the military, and then we have people saying that Jimin and JK have been posted by Dispatch, and those clips have kind of been going viral. And then we have Run BTS believed to be permanently canceled or will be. So Dumplings, it's safe to say, let's get into it. If you're unaware, Run BTS is one of BTS's reality shows that they had before going into the military. And I think like a few months before they started enlisting, like even before Jin started enlisting, they announced that the show was going to be on a hiatus. And a lot of people felt like that meant that the show was going to get canceled. But I think at one point they made it clear that the show was not going to be canceled in its entirety, but they were just holding off. And they didn't mention exactly what the reason was, but it's pretty obvious that the reason was likely because they were all going to be enlisted and there was no way to do it without all of them there. Plus, they were all starting to pursue their solo careers, so they wanted their solo stuff to have focus and maybe not like the group thing to have the attention and have it be back on the group. At least that's my theory. The show is absolutely great, and I've reacted to a lot of the Run BTS episodes over on Patreon, so if you're interested in checking those moments out, as well as reacting to those moments with me and fangirling and just having a great time, then make sure you check it out. It's the first link in the top of the description bar, so just click there and then you can find it. There's a tier that's just $2 a month, and it gives you access to the over 1,000 videos that are already on there. You get that immediately. Now, recently there were some articles or general conversation has come out where it mentioned that the director of the reality show was working on a lot of new different things. It was believed that the director was going to be creating their own agency to debut a new group, and a lot of this was very disheartening for a lot of BTS fans because they felt like this meant likely that the director in the future is probably not going to have time to work on Run BTS, or that the show might be different if they pick a different director. Or in some cases, people believe that the show could just be canceled altogether if they're not going to use the same director or even the person who normally comes up with the ideas or whatever. Of course, a lot of people who are talented and can come up with really good ideas, even just regular content creators who knows what people want to see, can come up with very cool storylines and cool things for the boys to do that would still make the show really interesting. However, I want to say that I don't believe personally that the success of the show is solely based on the director. Of course, the director has a huge contribution to that, but at the end of the day, I believe most people watch the show just because they want to see more of the boys, and the fact of the matter is, no matter who directs it or who produces it, people were always going to want to watch the show to see more of the boys. And if the show continues, and it will, that's what they're going to see. So I think it'll be a success either way. This is no shade or nothing negative towards the director. I'm not saying that he isn't good at his job or that his contributions don't matter, but I'm saying that I think a lot of people will still stick around even if it was just a boy sitting at a table and just eating, and that has actually happened before. People watch it. So ultimately, the decision of whether the show will be canceled or not is going to be based on the label, or even based on the fact if the boys want to do it themselves. But if all is good and everyone does want to do it and the label's happy with that, then I don't see a reason why the show would be canceled, even if the director does move on and do other things. Of course, it makes sense why the director would try to do other things, especially since the show hasn't been on or running for maybe almost like 2 years. And so what was the director supposed to do with that time? Wait around for the show that he doesn't even know when it's going to come back around, or start working on his own things? He's got bills to pay, I'm sure. And recently there's been a lot of photos that have come out of both JK and Jimin, as well as a lot of videos that have gone viral. And I think a lot of people have been just missing the boys so much that they are really just more so freaking out about some of the old content that has existed out there. It seems like every single day when I go on Twitter or any social media site, Jimin and JK are trending, and they're trending together. And it's interesting to see because it comes from this place where people are just like posting old clips, and people are bringing up old clips. I see it every day, literally. There was a video where it basically was saying that it seemed transparent or obvious that Jimin and JK have some sort of special relationship with each other. And a lot of those clips are referencing moments in which Dispatch has recorded the two together, or just like walking together at the airport, and people have used that as an example to say that they're together. Other things are just them mentioning each other on each other's live streams, or them just hanging out with each other and it being caught on camera. Moments like this are very interesting to me, and I can't doubt that they are special, right? When we see moments like this and we see people interacting like this with each other, we of course have to feel like there is a special bond there. Do I necessarily believe that bond is anything more than platonic? Probably not, and I don't know if a lot of people who make these connections where they say, oh, so-and-so are dated because of this, and the rumor are just based on them looking at each other or chatting with each other even. So I don't know if I should believe that the people who are saying this new rumor have ever been in a relationship themselves, or should I believe that they've never had a close friend? Because at the end of the day, friendships, if you're really close with each other, can be like Jimin and JK and how they act can be a lot like a romantic relationship where you just want to be around that person all the time. This is why even when two straight guys hang out with each other all the time and they're both married to their own wives, their wives would still get jealous of the two guys' relationships. I see it all the time. And this even happens with two girls who happen to be in a straight relationship as well. The significant other tends to get jealous because they're starting to see that their partner is spending a lot of time with their friend and not a lot of time with them. And I say this because even the people who are clearly not dating their friend, people will get jealous and people will get upset because they are just jealous of certain aspects, like spending time with each other, or like them spending time with their friends, or just their relationship in general, right? Like the jokes that they make with each other and that sort of stuff. Some significant others get jealous over the fact that their partner's best friends know more about their partner than they do. Just things like that. And of course, it doesn't really take that long of a time to develop a relationship like this with someone. I mean, you could really be close with someone for a year and then end up having a friendship like this. So I think romantic is interesting because I think a lot of these people perhaps have never been in a romantic relationship themselves, so they have nothing to compare Jimin and JK's relationship to, or they've never had a friendship like that before that is actually really close. Because when I look at some of these moments that people bring up, to me, it just reminds me of my former friendships that I may have with a former best friend. I don't really have a best friend, or not one that I would act like that with now, but I've had best friends like that before, and this is how I would act with them. One of the last things I want to talk about is very interesting. I was very, I don't know, taken back, I guess, by this because it was quite strange. It was a weird rumor. So if you're not aware, JK recently built a mansion. I don't know if we can say that this is alleged because I believe he lived in that mansion and talked about it. But for a while, it was just a rumor, and I think it was on news sites that were just talking about it, and they were saying that they believe that this was his mansion. But now people are coming out to say that when Jimin leaves the military, he and JK are essentially going to live in the mansion together. Now, these theories or thoughts are not backed up by any fact or backed up at all. Mind you, I mean, if it was backed up by even something like a little bit of something, then I could say that, but it's not backed up at all. They're just saying statements. Some people were talking about the fact that it seemed like Jimin wants to say something. He wants to admit something right now, and that he wants to get married now. Him wanting to admit something right now, where does that come from? Because why do you feel like he wants to admit something? And the second thing is, why do you think that that something is to get married? Like, what part of the fact that he hasn't been in the news and hasn't been in the spotlight for a really long time made you think that somehow he wants to be married? And what part of him being in the military right now has also made you feel that way? These people build their own world and their own fantasy, which is fine, but it's very interesting to kind of push this into a video and make this into a whole thing and kind of push it off as if like it's a real belief, and but it's not backed up by anything. Like, I can respect some of those videos where they're just kind of talking about a theory and then they back it up, even with like they're dating because they just looked at each other or they made eye contact. Like, I can understand that more than I can understand these theories, where it just seems like these people are just making up their own world. People went as far as to say that we might not see them move in together, but they're still together. And obviously that doesn't mean that they're not together, because apparently in Korea it's a very conservative area where most people don't move in together until they get married. Now, this is untrue in 2025. It used to be true, but similarly to how it used to be true in America too. But nowadays, most Korean citizens believe that you should live together before you get married. And I believe that too, because you have to know what it's like to live with someone before you decide to commit to them for the rest of your life. So I do believe that if we do see them living together, then at the very least from that, we can have some sort of speculation or something to build on. But what I'm going to believe is that they're probably not going to live together, and we're not going to see that. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for this little comment right here. Love you. Bye.